Hello, everybody. I just wanted to spend some time to share some of the things that I learned over the time that Dad was in the hospital, and since then, things that are just reminders to me, and I thought would be beneficial for everyone else who have been so supportive to my family to hear. So, one of the first things was just that I am not alone. That was a huge thing because our family doesn't have anyone else really around. Everyone else lives in California and Idaho and things like that. So it was really awesome to have a church family and a school family to kind of come together and become the hands and feet of Christ and just help us out. It reminded me of the song Carrie Job, I Am Not Alone. And with the verse Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, and just kind of going through that, feeling like that, being in a really difficult and dark situation, but knowing that God is there lifting me out, being used by all of you guys that were helping. I have my little notes here from class that I ended up writing on. Yeah, I wasn't really listening that night. But another thing is just the act of service, seeing everyone that was being selfless, and learning that you do these acts of service, and yes, sometimes people don't notice them, but you will be rewarded later is just one of the reminders I have. And just knowing that an individual cannot thrive or survive alone. It is community that's so important, and the body of Christ that supports a failing appendage. So the analogy is kind of that my family was one of those failing appendages. There were so many things going wrong at that point, and just like in 1 Corinthians 12, the body of Christ kind of just forms together and holds you together, and sometimes things turn into a miracle, and a miracle was a huge thing that I learned during that time. There was a lot of miracles with just Dad recovering so quickly, and even people coming in and showing up, and us having enough food while we were at the hospital and driving back and forth and things like that. So what I learned was open your eyes daily to miracles. Right now, God is giving you signs of grace and mercy, but entitlement blinds us. We feel like we deserve these things that we're getting, and really we don't. And when you break down to your lowest point, like where I felt like, and when you're so vulnerable, that vulnerability allows you to see that Christ is actually carrying you, and that he makes beautiful things out of the dust, just like that song. And I feel like that's sort of how it happened during that time. Another thing was that Dad taught me a lot of things. His attitude, kind of just like allowing your attitude to, well, your mind not to stress about the negative causes, and stressing about the negative causes heaviness in your life, and allowing your mind to rest on the positive causes contagious lightheartedness. And an example of that was while Dad was in the hospital, he was able to make it a goal for himself, not by telling anyone, but just trying to get the nurses to smile and laugh, and making this tough, terrible situation something that in each moment throughout it could be lighthearted and could be full of smiles and laughter and hope, and everything like that. So also, it's not about having a perfect life. Things like this happen. people die, miracles happen. It's just really an up and down roller coaster life is. And it's about using the seconds in life wisely in order to prove to the world that the best is yet to come. And it reminded me of the song Building 429. All I know is I'm not home yet. This is not where I belong. And another thing, one reason why I kind of learned that this is not where I belong is just things like money that seem necessary but are in the end worthless. And when something serious happens, like sudden cardiac arrest and not learning what the pain is from dad and all those things like that, the love for a human is worth more than any amount of money. I could have cared less how much money it was going to take for dad to be transported and all these huge procedures to be done on him. 1 Peter 4:8 says, love covers all. You can do anything, but if you don't do it in love, it's worthless. And the song for King and Country, The Proof of Your Love, and just the phrase saying, not my will, but yours be done. That was something that God really had to teach me during that time, because I wanted what I wanted to happen. I thought that the best thing was for dad to be healed and everything to be fine again. And when you know the result is not in your hands anymore, you rest on faith and realize that your perception of what should happen is not what is best. And learning, just a reminder from back in junior high school, life is not about me. And what I want ultimately doesn't matter. God's glory is first. And when you live this way, a huge weight is lifted off your shoulders, and you are able to see the strength gained through trials. And I feel like a lot of us had felt like we wanted what we wanted to happen. But in the end, when you allow this to happen, you gain so much strength. And this phrase I kind of came up with, it's confusing, but just listen. I would not be who I am today if the things that I did not want to happen in my life did not happen in my life. So I just feel like with some of the things that have happened, and especially this trying event that happened, it's molding me and changing me and turning me into a stronger person in the end. Just encouragement to integrate your passion, your gifts, your profession, your attitudes, and your family into living the dream. And what is living the dream? Is it really the American dream, or is it another dream? And it just kind of made me think about those things. And I know that a lot of the American dream seems perfect, but a lot of people end up being consumed with power and control. And it's human nature to want power and control, and having control over yourself and what happens to you and what happens to others. But you end up with anger and frustration and saying things like, it's not fair, or I don't deserve this. Or when you end up getting what you really do want, you say, I want more. And the world does not revolve around you. It doesn't revolve around me. And that type of success is good for a certain amount of time, but it's good for nothing in the end when you ultimately die. It's insignificant and pointless if you don't have love, if you don't follow what Christ has planned for you in your life. So just the verse Romans 12:2, one of my favorite Bible verses, if you're conforming to the patterns of this world full of sin, don't. Transform your drive in life by renewing your goals and have an openness to it. Then you'll be able to find what God's will is for your life. And Another one of these sayings that I learned in Sunday school when I was really little, the letters J-O-Y, that spells joy, kind of just showing what is important in life and the order that it should go in. J is for Jesus, O is for others, Y is for you. And it's kind of silly when you think about it, but if you really think deeper into what each one of those means and how you should use them, that is very, very important. So lastly, a huge reminder to myself was what life is really about. And an analogy that I kind of came up with was fueling your fire with instant gratification is kind of like using kindling to keep a fire for the whole night. That's not going to keep you warm, and that's not going to sustain for the whole night. You're going to freeze to death. Or the other option is using things that have lasting satisfaction, or putting a log into a fire. Something like that is going to stay for a very long time. It's going to heat you. It's going to keep you warm. It's going to keep you safe. And that's just sort of an analogy of what life is about. Don't fuel your fire with instant gratification, but lasting satisfaction. And I also just wanted to thank everybody who has been involved in my family's life since everything happened. I thank you so much for the meals and everyone on the prayer chains and the support and anything else I'm not thinking of. And I really encourage you to attend the April 11th on Saturday fundraiser for my dad. It would be really awesome to see you there. And I thank you in advance for your support. So hope you liked my testimony. Bye-bye.